quick, simple tips on types of questions that appear on the ACT, such as punctuations. What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to the world of EL-Brainiacs. That was my dog. A tutoring service and your source for free content, tools, and strategies to help you achieve your academic goals and skyrocket your ACT and SAT score. One of the most complicated yet seemingly simple portions of the English ACT falls under the usage and mechanic questions. And under these questions, we got all sorts of grammar questions, punctuation questions, and within the punctuation questions, one of the most common questions that do appear on the English ACT are commas, and yet they seem so simple, so easy to use. We use them all the time in all of our essays. If you're writing an essay on the Great Gatsby, if you're writing an essay in your US history or your world history course, commas are typically thrown in at our leisure, based on our opinion, because of how the words sound to us. And the challenge about that is that the ACT removes any subjective reasons, removes any opinion use on how to use commas. And instead, the ACT requires, the English ACT requires that commas are used technically, the way they're meant to be used, the way you learned to use them since you were in 2nd grade and then reviewed them back when you were in 7th and 8th grade for more complicated sentence structures. And today we're going to go over some samples of what those questions look like. Yes, they're simple, but nailing them is more likely to improve your floor so that you're nailing the questions that you really want to get, the easy, simple ones. And then when the more challenging questions appear, hopefully you've reviewed and prepared to answer them. So let's get into it. This is going to be real quick, but hopefully simple and effective at the same time. Commas. There are several ways commas are supposed to be used that get away from just opinion usage. Some of them you're very aware of. Using commas in terms of lists. I went to the mall and bought sunglasses, a t-shirt, and a hat. Although now that summer's rolling around, I'm kind of getting a to-do list of what to buy soon. There you have a list. That's one way to expect commas will be used within the context of the ACT. Another way commas are used is to separate dependent and independent clauses. Although it was hot outside, comma, there was a long line at the pool. And that's an independent clause. There was a long line at the pool could be a sentence on its own, whereas although it was hot outside, that's your dependent clause, and a comma is used to combine both clauses together. Look for those examples on the ACT. Also, look out for quotations. Daisy said to Gatsby, "I miss you." I don't know if that's probably not a direct quote from the Great Gatsby, but you can imagine when quotations appear right before any context or within the context, there is a comma introduced before the quotation. These don't appear as much on the ACT or even on the SAT, the writing and language section, but it's still helpful to know about. Remember any locations and dates: Chicago, Illinois, Los Angeles, California, commas in between. Dates, May 27th, 2025, even though this video was made in 2022, unless I'm from the future. Dun, 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 dun. All right, back to the point. Also, specific detail. So when nouns or things or people, words, all nouns, are described, sometimes there's commas within a sentence that further describe the noun that's within the context. Alyssa, comma, the junior student, comma, prepared for the ACT. Or prepared for the SAT, whichever way have you. That shows more description about the noun. And these commas can also be replaced by parentheses, or they can be replaced by dashes. So you get additional usage of punctuations just from understanding how commas are used here. And another one here, you may already know, transition words. So whenever a sentence starts with a transition word such as however, in conclusion, a comma normally appears right after the transition word before the rest of the sentence continues. So again, each of these ways has a technical use of commas, not based on opinion. And the ACT English section or even the SAT writing and language portion will never use commas based on sole opinion. If a comma is used within a sentence be sure to use this as an approach, as a way to eliminate choices that shouldn't be there and select choices in which, let's say commas, for example, follow these categories, follow the technical way in which they're supposed to be used, because we use them all the time. And the SAT writing language portion or the English ACT never outright say avoid your opinion use, but here now you can use the fact that these tests are going to be using commas in a way that follow these technical choices. So keep those in mind, kind of like a study guide. And tests are so much more easier, right? When we have a little bit of a study guide to follow. Use them as a source of elimination. Refer back to these points when doing practice and finding out, is a comma supposed to be here? Review all these choices, and if so, select the appropriate comma choice or eliminate the choice that just shouldn't be there. Hope this video was helpful. If you're confused about a topic or want to see a video about a different topic that you just haven't found anything on, leave a comment down below and I might make the next video based on the topic that you mentioned. If you enjoyed this video, also hit the subscribe button and the bell button. That way you can stay up to date with all the content, tools, and strategies that get delivered to you here on a weekly and on a daily basis. If you're on my Instagram page, also hit that follow button with your magical finger over there to give you the power to be introduced to all the content, tools, and strategies that get delivered there as well on a daily and weekly basis. Until then, thanks for visiting the world of EL-Brainiacs.